Okay, today we're looking at a little SBE. It's a Sidebander IV, and someone's put a beautiful knob on this one. You know what? When you've got to suffice, you suffice. Okay, first thing you do with a Sidebander IV every time, and trust me on this, at the moment I've got no AM transmit, no sideband transmit, and I'm going to get my little can of deoxit. I just about guarantee you, by the time I just spray in here, clean up my little bit of a mess, run this around about 100 times. Now, I'm doing this live on video. I hope it works. Just, didn't think about that. I should have thought this through. All right, so we put a bit of deoxit D5 on there, and let's have a look, please. 1, 2. Okay. Good-o. Not great power, but there's some power. Let's have a look. What do we got? I don't know. About, oh, geez. We're on the ×1. Yeah, we are. So we've got about just under a watt of power coming out of it. So it's a start, and it didn't have that before you sprayed the switch. So let's see if we've got any sideband. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Like, well, that's surprising. So we're getting about 5 watts of transmit power out of this, which tells me we will get there with this radio. This is not going to be a difficult one. The channel selector, very fortunately, channel selector here, we do happen to have in stock. Have a look at this. Just another one. And that there is the perfect channel knob to go on an SBE Sidebander IV. So we will have an original to take off this unit. This one here actually transmits, what did this do? Oh, a little audio issue, that's right, because it transmits on sideband, no problems, receives on sideband, but we're going to steal the bit off that to put onto this one so that we can sort of clean this one up and really call this our keeper. Now, I don't know if you ever want to keep one of these. They are a little bit insane. A lot of these boards here, as you go sort of over the board, you'll see that, you know, it's a bit nasty in places, and I do suggest to people that, you know, spend an hour or so and just reflow that board, and nice and slowly. It's a lot. I mean, you've got a lot of space here to be able to do that. It's not difficult at all, and that also will fix a few problems. But I would say that at the moment we now want to see if we fix the receiver, because that's the other little thing that sort of won't work when the mode switch is giving you trouble. So let's put a bit of signal through, and let's just turn that down there and have a look at. Ooh, if that's 35 there, and just let me check that. Oh, I can just hear it in the AM. Yeah, it's very. Sorry, let's put a bit of tone into it as well. Just hearing that, and that's yeah, that's at about 10 microvolts. Where's the RF gain on these things? Here. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So it's all right. Just checking. Sometimes it's something simple. All right. Squelch and clarify just there, and yeah, it's really I've got the channel knob at the wrong place. Ah, look at that. Don't you love it when you get an easy one? Yeah, okay, so the channel knob's just slightly out of place at the moment, so what the signal generator is, we'll fix that when we change the knob over. Okay, so this is good. This is really good, because virtually we've got 0.2 of a microvolt, as you can see, and as I'm sort of going up to 10 microvolts, oops, sorry, as we're going up to 10 microvolts there, that's good. All right, so this has been a very easy fix, and I can't say enough, you know, how many times that you could spray a mode switch. Always go looking, you know, check the obvious things first, just have a bit of a play. What we're going to do is I'm going to chuck that other channel knob on the right channel. Okay, so how much better does that look? Just having the right dial on there. Now, what does it need? We need a globe, because we've got transmit globe works and that globe, but yeah, we're just missing the light globe here, so we'll chuck that in it. And this is not a bad condition SBE. I mean, look, it's hard to find the mint in box ones. So sometimes you've got to do what we're doing here, which is making, you know, using 2 or 3 units to make sure that, you know, you've got the right microphone and the right display. I've got one that's got a cracked front on it, which is, you know, useless, but the parts are great for, you know, obviously doing on this. But yeah, let's put a light in, see if that just makes it come up a bit nicer. Now, just a little tip, if you ever want to do a globe in one of these and you think there's a way of just sliding a globe in there and hopefully it'll, no, there's not. So front panel off, as we're doing here, and you can see just down, excuse me, in here is a area where the globe is. It's, geez, nasty. Anyway, it's a little bit nasty and definitely a two-handed job. So we'll go and put that in, but yeah, you want to make this front panel flip right over so you can get access to it. It's 4 screws, so 2 on that side and 2 on the other side. Definitely do undo the 4 screws. Watch your mode switch wiring and everything, that you don't knock anything off, because you're creating one problem by fixing one. Okay, all right, back in a tick. Now, see way down in there after you pull the channel selector out, it's the only way to get to that little light to change over. It's just a design nightmare. But anyway, so we're very close. So we'll basically pop in another globe in there and then put the channel switch all back together and put all the front back together. Who would have thought you'd have to do all that just for a bloody globe? All right, on our way. When you finally drag it out, that's it, the culprit. And it's tucked right in there. Oh. All that so that we can put a nice globe just there. I just think, oh, they could have designed this a little bit better. Anyway, we'll pull that one out and hook up the new one. Right, I reckon this is always a good time, number one, to just quickly turn on and have a look at, okay, so you've got your light working there, but something I did notice, just due to the age of these, this panel here, as you can see, is, you know, just sitting there. It's pretty loose over here around near the meter as well. So it takes no time at all to pull off these, take it off and glue it back on, and it'll give you a good chance to actually clean this with no knobs in the way as well. Good chance to clean all your knobs too. But we've got to make a big decision pretty soon. Now, do we use, oh, two things in the way here. Do we use the one that's been so beautifully done by the manufacturer, or this one here, which is, you know what, he didn't do a bad job. It's practical, but I think we'll use this one here, and we'll give that a bit of a clean before it goes on. Another good thing to do when you've had this many wires off, check you've still got an input signal going into it. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2. Check that it still transmits. Very easy, extremely easy when you've got the front off these things to, well, there's a few things. Number one, watch switch on switches, mode switch wires. Number 2, channel wires. I always take a photo of the channel switch first, and that always gives me a really, you know, good idea what I'm up to. If I get a bit lost, which, you know, I haven't worked on one of these since I was an apprentice, so it's easy to get lost. Anyway, so basically, yep, put this all back together, make it all look nice, and then I think we can give it a final tune, hopefully. Just in case you've ever wondered what an SBE looks like when it's not an SBE, and it's a, well, it's still an SBE there, but the front off, that's how they look. And these plates here, we give them a bit of a clean up. We just clean a bit of this old glue off, put some new glue on there, and put the fella on there and make it all look nice. And they look so pretty. So this one's actually coming along well. By the way, we haven't dropped any wires off anything, but I cannot say enough how many times I've worked on one of these over the years, you know, and I've just gone back and I've gone, oh, hang on, what's, you know, channel 18 to channel 9 or something. It'll be a wire off the channel switch. It'll be something easy. But they are a little bit brittle, these things. They're getting old. The soldering jobs on these things were pretty terrible. So sometimes you'll find a wire might drop off somewhere. And just have a look at how clean that plate comes up with very, very little attention. You know, it just takes a little bit of a clean up with some of the products we use, and that'll be heading back onto this fella over here. Okay, so then you get to the point where you say to yourself, which case do we want? Now, this one's got this nice SBE sticker on it, and that's, you know, sort of talking about the old 23 channel case, and a lot of these came out as 23s. This one's a bit scratched up, etc. But we're going to spray, whichever one we use, we're going to spray. I tend to think we might take this off and use this one here. There's one other case we've got, actually. I'm just going to have a look at that one and see what that one looks like. Well, actually, there's your answer. Maybe we've got our answer sitting right in front of us, and it's still got its nice little sticker on it, but it's actually really nice as far as I won't have to spray it. And that's the thing, is I only spray, like, I can make little marks like this go away and look very nice, but once we spray them, it's fairly obvious. So we'll take this one and we'll put it onto this fella here, which is cooking with gas now, by the way. It's receiving extremely well and transmitting beautifully. So we'll just put a case on it and hello, 1, 2, hello. Yep, loads and loads of transmit, loads of receive. So, this one's been a bit of a fun one. Isn't it funny? Getting the thing working, aligning it and doing all that, that was easy. Putting that globe in there, that took a little bit more time. Anyway, it's all good. All right, we're nearly finished. So, okay, we've got a SBE Sidebander IV back into one piece. So what to be careful of? The volume, not so much. When you're putting everything back together, these cases here, there's a lot of wiring, top and bottom. You need to be very careful you don't undo some really good work you've done. It's really easy, and I can tell you why, because I whipped one wire off myself. A lot of you guys got to remember, I am just a guy who is accumulating a whole lot of rubbish and playing with it. My tech days are long gone, so I make mistakes. So when I make those mistakes, I like to tell you what they are. And in this one, yes, I was in such a hurry to put the case on, I whipped off one of my little 12-volt wires, and I thought, I just fixed that bloody globe. But no, I knew exactly what it was in a second once I took the case off. Just too fast. Should have slowed down. I've actually got on the other side of the room a mic that's got liner. SBE, get it right. SBE across the front here, so we'll be swapping that out in a minute. But I didn't worry about doing that for this little test here. So what do we got? We've got a radio that's receiving down to point 0.1 of a microvolt there. It's still receiving quite well. They've got here's 0.05. That's as far as I can take it down, and you can still hear it in there, just. And obviously as you bring it up, it's coming up beautifully. So, let's turn the generator off. Bit of a tune. Audio. It was really nice to see this radio coming up to, when I do this, this must make you all get crazy at me. 1 2 1 2 1 2. So if we turn some volume up over here, because these had a really bad fault on AM where they used to get carrier 1 2 1 2, but no audio. But this one doesn't have that fault. Normally, when they've got that fault, they normally have that one back there, and they normally have a audio fault with them as well. Audio IC goes, and I'm sort of having to go back a fair bit. My memory. Anyway, so little things we did. Obviously, we fixed the mode selector, channel selector, which was not, as you're finding out, not awfully hard if you've got a can of my good old deoxit. Can't even see it at the moment. So much rubbish. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Oh, geez. I'm going to reach it, but I keep showing this stuff off because Mike in America talks about it so much, and he's so right. Mike's helped me so much in some of the stuff. I've watched a lot of hours of Mike's videos. So anything that you see me do, I'm plagiarizing. I'm basically taking somebody else's very, very hard work and learning from it. And so Mike from Mike's CB Radio Repairs, mates, are always love watching your stuff. Hopefully we're just kind of translating a bit of it into Australian. I don't know. I think your American version works pretty well for people. Anyway, so that's all working now, and I'm really glad because we wanted one good 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 1 2. As you can see, drives nicely. We wanted just one that we could just sit there and go 40 channels and just say, yeah, fantastic. Look at that, and just come around and I've got to find the. There we go, and there we go. All right, with that lovely tone, I shall leave you. Just don't forget when you're dealing with these things, nice and slow. You don't have to be a technician. You just have to have some common sense. I moved out of fixing radios when I was about 20-something. I actually went back to another career for a little while. Then I came to Motorola. And, of course, once I hit Motorola, nothing was the same again. And, I took on a fairly technical sales role out, from about my 30s. So getting back into playing around with radios and having a bit of fun. Look, it's just as much fun for me as it can be for you. But don't ever underestimate your abilities, because quite seriously, like Dick Smith said to me once, he's not a clever man, he's just surrounded by very clever people. Well, in our case, we're surrounded by thousands of, people on ham radio and CB radio, of course, who know a lot more about this than I do, and they make life a lot easier to learn. So, happy learning, and that's the SBE Sidebander IV. We've finally got a good one. We'll get rid of the rest now. I've got a shelf full of the things. Give me a call if you need any. We'll be selling the rest off. I've had it. I might keep a 23 original. That's about it after that. All the best. This is VK3CM or Aussie Radio 444 when I'm on the Charlie Baker, which has been a little bit lately. Not a lot, but a little bit. Been good to catch up with people on there too. 73s. All the best.